Hello everyone. Welcome to MeghaDiscourse, where literature meets excellence. As we know, history remembers kings by their crowns and wars, and literature of an age remembers by their voice, their creations. So in today's video, we will learn about the Age of Chaucer, that why Geoffrey Chaucer is the most important writer. Between 1300 to 1400, when England walked through plague, famine, rebellion, a new voice was born. And it is very clear, human, that is the musical voice of Geoffrey Chaucer. This is the century when England found its tongue, the rhythm, and its soul. So let's move to our first part. What is the historical and political backdrop of Age of Chaucer? 14th century was a storm-ridden age. Here is monarch rose and fell, and yet out that chaos came cultural rebirth. Edward I is the first king. He consolidated royal law and he fought Scotland. Here is Edward II as well, who ruled very weak. His favoritism led to his tragic fall. Edward III, the another king, he restored national glory. Under him, 100 Years' War began. 100-year wars fought in 1337 to 1453. It is a struggle that built England patriotism. Richard II, he was artistic but indecisive, and he faced rebellion. He was deposed by Henry IV. Thus, the dynasty ends, the stability ends. So these shifting crowns forced national identity, national patriotism, and a seed that Chaucer's literature would nurture. Let us focus on some historical backdrop. First one is Great Famine, 1350 to 1317. For these endless years, rain drowned England fields, crops rotted, hunger stalked towns. This great famine exposed the weakness of feudal lords and awakened social consciousness. The same moral echo we hear in Piers Plowman by William Langland, when Langland laments, "Hunger hither hastened, and heart fell many." So in this line, Langland was talking about the pliha of these peasants, these farmers. The second is 100 Years' War, 1337 to 1453, more than 100 years. So beyond politics, it shaped national feeling and heroic imagination. The victories of Criseyde and Poitiers inspired chivalric pride. The knight became both warrior and poet. His honor sung in romances and mirrored in Chaucer's Knight's Tale. As we have seen that Chaucer has written a tale on knight. So this age also told about the knights, about their chivalry, about their bravery. The next one is the Black Death, bubonic plague, 1348 to 49. So this plague carried off nearly half of England people. The silence of deserted villages turned writers inward. There is a isolation, there is a seclusion all around. Langland's vision of sin and redemption and Chaucer's compassion for all classes grew from this grief. So the plague taught the pen to feel. Historians said that. And indeed, they did it. This one is the Peasants Revolt, 1381. Crushed yet unforgettable. It was led by Wat Tyler and the preacher John Ball, who cried, "When Adam delved and Eve span, who was then gentleman?" These were the lines they wrote about these Peasants' Revolt. So the cry for equality echoed in literature realism, like in Piers Plowman, Working Man, and the Canterbury Tale, Plowman Pilgrim. Like the art of characterization of Canterbury Tale is magnum opus. When you read thoroughly about the Canterbury Tale, he has taken each and every character from each and every starter. Like there is a knight, there is a plowman, there is a miller, reeve, okay, so doctor, wife, nun. So there's so many characters. The next one is the church and Wycliffe reform. Wycliffe is known for his Bible. It is very important for UGC-NET exam. So the church was mighty, but morally weak and corrupted. These rose John Wycliffe, the morning star of Reformation. He denounced clerical greed, and his followers, the Lollards, they are known as Lollards. That's why it is known as Lollards movement. Produced the first complete English translation of Bible, 1382. Most important thing. So John Wycliffe English Bible made sacred truth accessible to common folk and taught writers that English itself could carry divine truth. Next is the revival of English language. From starting we are reading that we have Latin language, we have French language. So for centuries after the Norman conquest, French and Latin dominated courts and schools. But by 1350, English surged back. The London dialect became the literary standard, the very dialect Chaucer polished to musical perfection. Now, the literary background before Chaucer. So this period blended realism, allegory and chivalry. We have religious prose like Cursor Mundi, important one, which taught moral life. There is allegory, for example, the pearl who spoke father's grief and heavenly hope. There was romance and heroism, like Sir Gawain and Green Knight, revived alliterative verse, joining chivalric idols with moral testings. The unsuspended writer, William Langland, and his writing, Piers Plowman. He gave voice to the poor. It is written in alliterative verse, and it is a dream vision. The narrator's will searches to truth through allegorical figure. So it is an allegory. So Piers Plowman symbolizes honest labor and spiritual integrity. The poem lashes out corruption and false piety. It anticipates both Reformation thought and Chaucer's realism. He has given a phrase, do well, do better, do best. His eternal moral triad. Next important figure is John Gower. He is a moral philosopher and he is the friend of Chaucer. That's why he is known as Moral Gower. He wrote in 3 languages, French, Latin and English. He wrote in Latin Vox Clementis, that is a mournful account of Peasants Revolt. Second one is Confessio Amantis. It is written in English. It is a collection of tales told by lovers in confession, teaching moral wisdom. The third one is Mirror del Moine. It is written in French. It is a mirror of man's sins and virtues. So together these works bridge the moral allegory of the Middle Ages with psychological insight of Chaucer's age. So in this way, the historical background, the social background mirrors the society through the writer's creation. The most important writer, Geoffrey Chaucer, born in 1343. He is the father of English poetry. He was born in London to a wine merchant family. Chaucer served in royal court under Edward III, Richard II, and Henry IV. He travelled as a diplomat to France and Italy, encountering the works of Dante, Petrarch, and Boccaccio, which refined his poetry art. Most of his work taken from these writers. He has major works which is exam relevant. The Book of the Duchess in 1369. It is an elegy for Blanche of Lancaster. It is an early dream vision. These works are very important. You will get questions from these works in most of the exams. The second is The House of Fame, 1374 to 80. It is a satirical vision on fame's vanity. The third one is The Parliament of Fools, 1382. It is a dream debate on love, Valentine poem. The one is Troilus and Criseyde, most important. It is written in 38 days. It is a tragic love story written in psychological depth and in Rima Royal stanza. Most of his work written in octosyllabic stanza. And he is the founder of Rima Royal. Another one is The Legend of Good Woman in 1386. It is a stories of loyal women in love, celebrate virtue. Actually, he wrote against women, but this is the work. He praised women. The another marvelous work, The Canterbury Tale, 1387 to 1400. His masterpiece. Let us learn about The Canterbury Tale. A group of 30 pilgrims journey to Canterbury and share stories to pass their time. Each tale reveals the character, class, morality of medieval England. It is written in rhymed couplets and in iambic pentameter, shaping the very rhythm of English verse. There is a line like, when that April with the straw suit, the drought of March hath recede to the root. So from the noble king to the body miller, from the devout person to the cunning partner, Chaucer paints the entire human world. Earlier I said that the art of characterization is awesome. So his humor, irony and compassion makes him timeless. What are the literary features of the age? First one, the rise of realism. We can see in the Chaucer Canterbury Tale. Focus on real people and everyday life. Second is they use vernacular English. Vernacular language was predominant. Middle English became literary language. Third one is alliterative revival, which fell in Anglo-Norman age. Old English rhythmic tradition restored. Fourth one is religious and moral allegory. Quest for salvation dominates. Allegorical poem, which is Piers Plowman. Fifth point, there is satire and irony, which exposed church, their corruption with wit. Sixth one, there's a blend of romance and reality, like courtly love meets social truth. And the seventh one, there is a humanism emerging, value of human experience and their emotions. The next part, prose of the period. So aside from Wycliffe Bible, prose was largely moral and historical. Like John Wycliffe English Bible, which is written in 1382, first full Bible translation made English language of sacred truth. Sermons, chronicles and travel accounts were there, like Mandeville's travel. They shaped early prose style. During the end of the century, by the 1400s, the old feudal order had faded. English was now the language of court, the language of school, the language of law and literature. When Chaucer died in 1400, he was buried in Westminster Abbey, founding the Poets' Corner, a shrine to English letters. He found English a dialect and left it a language. Who said that? Write in comment section. Hence, from the ashes of famine and the shadows of plague, the voice rose that spoke not of king but of humankind. Langland taught England to think, John Gower to moralize, and Chaucer to laugh and love. And thus, the age of Chaucer in English literature was not just merely written, but it was born. If you like this video, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe my channel. Moreover, in our next video, we will learn about the age of Elizabethan. Hope you like this video. Bye-bye.